O mighty Tundra Strider, how you and your mighty tusked beast silhouette against the great orange expanse. Thundering footsteps herald your herd, man and beast blazing trail together. One in nature, each relying upon the other, more than just man and beast, but equals who need one another to survive. How I long to run across the tundra in their mighty wake. That would truly be my greatest honor. The morning would be spent gathering dyes to paint our mammoths and then carve the fiercest images into their tusks. Then it would be time for the skeever hunt. Our clubs would rain down upon the rat pests, smashing the life out of them. In the evening we would sit around the campfire and I would regale those nearby with songs of their majesty and grace. They would let me sample some of the mammoth's cheese, a food so foul yet with healing properties so great. We'd snack on the roasted skeever we'd freshly caught the day before, lying under the stars to sleep. I'd slowly fade to a dream nestled in the radiating heat of mammoth fur, its cold-resisting properties keeping me snug. What a grand time we would have. Every single Skyrim player out there has had the experience of walking out into the tundras of Whiterun, approaching a camp of giants, thinking you're tough, thinking you can take on the dumb brute, only to be shot flying into the stratosphere by the impact of its club. This was a hallmark of the Skyrim experience, but what if I told you there was more to these creatures than their utility as a orbital launchpad device? What is up, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome back to FudgeMuppet. My name is Scott, and today we are looking deeper into the lore that surrounds these grumbling, gigantic humanoids that we call giants. These enormous humanoids possess colossal strength, as we all know far too well. And as enormous humanoids, implying like a human in shape, you can expect that they would share many features with humans, albeit gigantic versions. They have thick, grey, almost hide-like skin, long, powerful limbs, giant hands and feet, and by the size of those, you can probably guess the approximate size of what's under their loincloth. Most giants you would see are around 11 to 12 feet tall, however there have been sightings of others much, much larger. Giants are seen almost all across Tamriel, setting up camps in regions of High Rock, Skyrim, Hammerfell, Cyrodiil, and even Valenwood. There was supposedly once a race of giants with stature taller than trees and heads covered in eyes that existed on the Somerset Isles. But this race of giants called the Ulyadi are since extinct. There are also the frost giants that you would have encountered in the Forgotten Vale and Solstheim. They possess 5 eyes and 2 curved horns with bodies covered in white, shaggy hair. But these particular giants are very rare. But back to our standard, more conventional giants. That's who we're talking about today. These are the main stars of this lore show. So, where do these tall, lumbering fellows come from? The origins of giants are largely unknown and largely disputed. The elf-like appearance of their ears could incline many to believe that they in fact have some relation to the races of Mer. However, more popular theories insinuate a relationship with the Nords through ancestry. It is said that the ancient Atmorans were in fact intelligent giants, but long ago they split into 2 different races. One became smaller and retained their intelligence, the Atmorans that would become the Nords, and the other race retained their size but lost some of their intelligence, becoming the Giants. It seems very hard to verify this origin story, however there is a character in the Elder Scrolls Online called Lyris Titanborn who is a Nord with giantish ancestry, which obviously implies there is the possibility of interbreeding between humans and giants, and that could further imply that they do share some genetic ancestry. Regardless of where they came from, giants have formed a unique culture of their own. While they appear rather primitive, they have shown moderate intelligence with a variety of skills, being able to fashion tools and clothes, being able to use fire, and have domesticated mammoths for husbandry purposes. In fact, the connection between giant and mammoth goes little beyond just the equivalent of a Nord and his cow. They have a somewhat spiritual and reverent relationship based on mutual respect. They seem to be able to communicate with the mammoths and they protect them fiercely from poachers and beasts alike, and in return the mammoths provide companionship and milk, which is then processed into cheese by the giants. On occasion the giants have been seen eating mammoths, but it was a meal conducted with great reverence, and I would only assume after the mammoth had died of other causes and done in order to not waste. You yourself can find a giant mourning the loss of his mammoth companion while venturing the territory of Windhelm. These animals are of great cultural importance to the giants. The bones of deceased mammoths, including skulls and bones fashioned into tripwires, decorate their camps, and the art of creating mammoth tusk powder, a rare and prized alchemical ingredient, is known only by the giants. So while at first glance one may think primitive, stupid monsters, upon deeper inspection one can find a culture with its own customs, spiritual practices, and unique skills. The giants themselves are not simply grunting and growling, although that may be what it sounds like. They are in fact speaking their language, called Giantish. To the layman it is often incomprehensible, just an amalgamation of roars and grunts, but in fact some giants have even learnt to speak Tamrielic in order to interact and trade with people. Some giants have even gone on to become gladiators and bodyguards, though this is the exception. Giants are relatively peaceful, but are hostile to those crowding their personal space. However, if one can speak Giantish, a rare skill, the giants are often quite receptive to a friendly bit of conversation. They also possess no written language, however they do have certain symbols and motifs that are painted across stones and trees at their camps, which are also carved into their skin, leaving decorative scars, as well as carved into the tusks of their mammoths, further displaying their connection. Now, as you travel across Skyrim, you would have encountered a few giants at a camp, or the occasional nomad herding some mammoths, but it is not often that you would see many giants together. However, it does happen. Giants are known to have many different uses for different sites, some being places of spiritual significance, like Secunda's Kiss. When a giant is sick or dying, they travel to sacred burial grounds such as Secunda's Kiss to await the doors of the afterlife, implying their culture has some intricate beliefs and customs surrounding death. Other ceremonial sites include hubs where giants come from their spread out camps to trade, mate, and share knowledge with other giants. In ancient times, gatherings of giants have been far more dramatic and far more combative. There was once a particularly tall and powerful giant called Sinmer, who was the high chieftain of Skyrim's giantish clans. When Isgramor made his aggressive Nordic expansions into Skyrim, he slew many giants, including the legendary Sinmer, which more or less set the tone for Nord-giant relationships. Giants often keep to themselves, but fiercely guard their territory. However, Nords consider them a nuisance, a bump in the road to civilized expansion, so their grazing lands are often stolen, their mammoths hunted. In times of turmoil such as the Alliance War and the Stormcloak Rebellion, giants such as those belonging to the Stormfist clan have gone to war and attacked human settlements over stolen land. Ancient practices of Nordic farmers involved painting cows and offering sacrifice to the giants out of respect, which is still done today, but has become less common. And while it may seem like the Nords are at fault for their poor relationship, which they often are, giants are also known to sense weakness in territorial borders and will take territory if they can, also sometimes stealing livestock from farmers or stealing valuable items. Another reason why one not be on the best of terms with a giant is the desire for their body parts. An alchemist of Skyrim would have many a reason to want a giant dead, to steal their mammoth tusk powder, to add some stamina restoration properties to their potions, to cut off their toes, known to provide an increase to health and strength, to remove their molars so that they can be used to boost combat abilities, or cut off their thumbs to use them to imbue a weapon with a deadly vapor. There is even a fungus which grows from a giant's armpits which can be used as a powerful narcotic. The giant's biology is a curious one, but the strength of these various properties often depend on the freshness and quality of the ingredient, which has led to some alchemists creating specific guidelines for enterprising adventurers to correctly harvest body parts from giants they have slain. So as you can see, there is plenty of reason for a giant to want to be left alone. Rarely does their interaction with the so-called civilized populace ever go down well. So next time you find yourself wandering into a giant's camp in your full set of Daedric armor and with a giant dragonbone greatsword, perhaps have a second thought about killing these creatures. Have a touch of empathy. Maybe they just want to be left alone, to eat their mammoth cheese and roam the tundras with their mammoth companions. But then again, how else are you going to boost that block skill? And there is only one surefire way to go to space. Maybe in the Elder Scrolls 6, if it is Hammerfell or High Rock, we can see more giants and have more of their culture explored. Maybe it would be cool to see giants cooperating with ogres, orcs and goblins in the city of Orsinium. Perhaps giant characters we can actually interact with and talk with. That's something I would definitely like to see. What would you guys like to see? What lore topics would you like covered next? Please let us know down in the comments. Thanks so much for watching, guys. Subscribe for more videos just like this one. Like the video if you enjoyed it, please. It really helps and motivates us to putting out the best content we can. If you wish to contact us, links to our social media accounts are in the description below. My name is Scott from FudgeMuppet. Thanks so much for watching this video, and I'll be back to nerd out with you again next time.